Before you play Resident Evil Requiem, you need to understand something. This story is not just about zombies. It's about greed, secret experiments, corporate psychopaths, and one decision made over 60 years ago that basically ruined the entire world. From Umbrella to Raccoon City to bioterror outbreaks across the planet. This is the complete Resident Evil timeline explained, start to finish. So when Requiem drops, you'll know exactly what's going on. The origin, the flower that started everything. The entire Resident Evil universe begins in 1962. Three scientists discover a strange flower in West Africa called the Stairway of the Sun. And this plant does something insane. Anyone who consumes it gains superhuman abilities. But there's a catch. Most people who take it die. Inside the plant is a mutating virus. The scientists studying it are Dr. Oswell E. Spencer, Dr. Edward Ashford, Dr. James Marcus. They isolate the virus and give it a name, the Progenitor virus. This virus has the potential to evolve humanity. Spencer becomes obsessed with one idea. He wants to create the next stage of human evolution. But experiments like that require money, a lot of money. So the three scientists create a pharmaceutical company to secretly fund their research. That company is called Umbrella Corporation. Umbrella's real goal. Umbrella looks like a normal pharmaceutical company, but behind the scenes, they're developing biological weapons. Viruses that mutate living creatures into bioorganic weapons, or as the games call them, BOWs. Umbrella secretly sells these weapons to the military while continuing experiments with the Progenitor virus. But the partnership between the three scientists doesn't last. Spencer slowly becomes more ruthless. Eventually, he betrays Marcus and Ashford. Marcus is murdered, Ashford's family loses power, and Spencer becomes the true ruler of Umbrella. But Marcus's research doesn't disappear. His work leads to the creation of something far worse: the T-virus. The T-virus is created by combining the Progenitor virus with leech DNA. This new virus mutates living organisms in horrifying ways. It can reanimate dead tissue, create monsters, turn humans into zombies. Umbrella begins mass testing the virus in a secret underground lab beneath a mansion outside a small American city. That city is called Raccoon City, and everything is about to go wrong. Resident Evil 0. The first disaster. In 1998, something strange starts happening in the Arklay Mountains near Raccoon City. People are disappearing. The police send an elite unit called STARS to investigate. But before that team arrives, something escapes from the lab. Mutated creatures begin spreading through the mountains. A rookie cop named Rebecca Chambers ends up trapped in the middle of it. She teams up with a former soldier named Billy Cohen. Together, they discover the truth. Dr. James Marcus was not actually dead. His consciousness survived through mutated leeches, and he wants revenge on Umbrella. Marcus releases the T-virus, triggering the first major outbreak. But this is only the beginning. Resident Evil 1. The Mansion Incident. Soon after, the STARS team arrives at the mansion to investigate the attacks. Two key members are Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine. Inside the mansion, they discover something horrifying. The building is actually a cover for an Umbrella research facility. The entire lab is filled with experiments, zombies, mutated animals, bioweapons. But the worst discovery? One of their own teammates is working for Umbrella, Albert Wesker. Wesker betrays the team and releases Umbrella's ultimate weapon, the Tyrant. But the Tyrant is defeated and the mansion is destroyed. Chris and Jill escape, and they now know the truth. Umbrella is responsible for everything, but they're about to learn something even worse. Umbrella isn't done experimenting. Resident Evil 2. Raccoon City falls. 2 months later, the T-virus spreads into Raccoon City. Within days, the entire city collapses. Almost every citizen becomes a zombie. Two people arrive in the city during the outbreak: a rookie cop named Leon S. Kennedy and a college student searching for her brother, Claire Redfield. The city is already doomed when they arrive. Umbrella tries to contain the situation by sending in their latest weapon, Mr. X, a mass-produced tyrant designed to eliminate witnesses. Leon and Claire fight their way through the city while uncovering Umbrella's experiments. They learn about a new virus, the G virus. created by scientist William Birkin. But when Umbrella tries to steal the virus, Birkin injects it into himself and becomes one of the most powerful monsters in Resident Evil history. Leon and Claire eventually escape the city, but the US government makes a brutal decision. To stop the infection, they nuke Raccoon City. Hundreds of thousands of people die, and the truth is buried. Resident Evil 3. Nemesis. At the same time as the Raccoon City outbreak, Jill Valentine is still in the city, and Umbrella sends something after her, a new tyrant model called Nemesis. Unlike Mr. X, Nemesis is intelligent. Its only mission is simple: kill all surviving STARS members. Nemesis hunts Jill through the entire city, relentlessly, but Jill manages to destroy it and escape the city before the nuclear strike. After Raccoon City is wiped off the map, Umbrella begins losing power, but the damage they cause to the world is just beginning. The fall of Umbrella. After the Raccoon City incident, global governments start investigating Umbrella. The company collapses under lawsuits and criminal investigations. By 2003, Umbrella officially falls. But the problem is bigger than one company. The viruses they created are now everywhere. Black market groups begin trading bioweapons, and bioterrorism becomes a global threat, which leads directly into the next chapter: Resident Evil 4. Las Plagas. Years later, Leon Kennedy is now a government agent. He's sent to a remote village in Spain to rescue the US president's daughter. But the village is not infected with the T-virus. Instead, they're controlled by a parasite called Las Plagas. This parasite can control the human nervous system, turning people into obedient soldiers. The cult controlling the parasite plans to infect the president's daughter and secretly take control of the US government. Leon stops the plan and destroys the parasite leader. But during this mission, one familiar face returns: Albert Wesker, and he's been working behind the scenes the entire time. Resident Evil 5. Wesker's plan. Albert Wesker's ultimate goal is simple. He wants to replace humanity, using a virus called Ouroboros. This virus will kill most of the population, but the few who survive will gain superhuman abilities. Wesker believes those survivors will become the next stage of evolution. Chris Redfield and a new partner, Sheva Alomar, track Wesker to Africa. After an insane final battle inside a volcano, Wesker is finally killed, ending one of the longest-running villains in Resident Evil history. But the world is still filled with viral weapons, and new outbreaks keep happening. Resident Evil 6. Global Bioterror. By the time Resident Evil 6 happens, bioterror attacks are happening across the planet. Multiple viruses are spreading simultaneously. Cities are collapsing. Governments are struggling to contain the chaos. Leon, Chris, and several other characters fight different outbreaks around the world. But this era proves something important. The viruses Umbrella created can never truly be erased. The technology is already out there, and someone will always try to weaponize it. Resident Evil 7. A new horror. After years of large-scale outbreaks, Resident Evil shifts to a smaller story. A man named Ethan Winters travels to Louisiana searching for his missing wife, but he discovers a new type of bioweapon: the mold. Created by a mysterious organization called the Connections, the mold can control minds and regenerate human bodies. Ethan's wife Mia was secretly working with the organization, and the creature controlling the mold is a girl named Evelyn. Ethan eventually defeats Evelyn, but his story isn't over, because the mold has already changed him. Resident Evil Village. The truth about Ethan. Years later, Ethan is living in Europe with his wife and daughter, but his daughter is kidnapped by a group of powerful mutants, including the now famous Lady Dimitrescu. The mastermind behind the entire situation is a scientist named Mother Miranda. Miranda has been experimenting with the mold for decades, trying to resurrect her dead daughter. Ethan fights through Miranda's creations and saves his child, but he learns something shocking. He actually died during the events of Resident Evil 7. His body has been surviving purely because of the mold. Ethan sacrifices himself to stop Miranda, saving his daughter and destroying the source of the mold infection. The world before Requiem. So after decades of outbreaks, Umbrella is gone, but the viruses they created changed the entire world. Bioweapons are now a permanent global threat, and governments secretly maintain anti-bioterror organizations. People like Leon Kennedy, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield. They've spent their entire lives fighting these outbreaks. But something new is coming, something connected to the very beginning, back to the Progenitor virus. back to Spencer's original dream, which leads us to the next chapter, Resident Evil Requiem. And if history has proven anything, it's that these experiments never truly stay buried. The real question is, what new nightmare is about to begin, and who's actually behind it this time? Follow for daily gaming news.